The following interview took place at the Moses Organic Farming Conference on Saturday, February 26, 2011. I met lots of great people, including a number of young farmers. And this is a very common thing at all the conferences that I've been to, is to see many farmers in their 20s and 30s, with quite a few of them being fairly new to farming. Ethan Proksch of Genoa, Wisconsin is one of them. He's pretty young, actually. Ethan's 20 years old, and I sat down with him for a few minutes to have him tell his story and to discuss why organic farming and sustainable agriculture is important to him. Conference, I met Ethan Proksch from Genoa, Wisconsin. He's a young farmer here, been farming for, well, he's going to tell us a little bit more about what he does and how long he's been farming, but and some of the kind of things that he does. And I'm meeting a lot of people like him, a lot of younger people, and as I've mentioned to quite a few people in the past, there's a lot of 20-year-old, 30-year-old people that are getting into farming like this. But we're not talking about farming like people think of conventional farming, row farming, that kind of thing. And Ethan has a little bit of background in that too, and that some of his family's done that kind of thing. But I'm going to have him introduce himself, tell us a little bit about his operation, what he does. And I do want to say this is pretty much his operation. Is that correct? Yep. Yeah, I mean, this is all his own thing that he's doing. It's not some other family farm that he works for, although he does have some family history of other people farming, like his grandfathers and so on. So Ethan, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you're doing in Genoa.
I do raise dairy goats. We rotationally graze them over 15 acres. Plan is to have them go through and end up getting a couple either jerseys to help raise the kids, and Angus to follow along the rotation to break up the pest cycle.
Great. And you have some organic certification on some of the things that you're doing right now, is that correct?
All the cropland and the farm. The farm itself is certified. It's right now the goats aren't, since we haven't found the market yet for it.
Okay.
At this time.
So how many animals do you have?
Right now we are up to 190 total. Probably by the end of this year we'll be milking about 175 and probably be close to 250 by the time all the kids come out.
Awesome. So you're doing all your own kidding and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do all of my own kidding. I do the breeding and everything, hoof work, medications.
What breeds of goats are you using?
We actually have almost all the dairy breeds. We have Sons, Alpines, La Manchas, Nubians. We actually have a couple of boar meat goats mixed in. We're going to try doing genetic stuff, so to see if we can get them to breed out of season to have all year round milk production instead of seasonal production.
Great. Well, let's talk a little bit about your history and how long you've been doing this kind of thing. Ethan's 20 years old now, is that correct?
Yep.
And how long have you been doing what you're doing now as far as your own business is concerned?
Well, last year, about February, we ended up buying a couple of little goats just, for a little fun type thing. And because I've gone to the Moses conference for the past 3 years, so I've been kind of looking into actually doing dairy cattle instead of the goats. But the goats kind of led to more goats, and I actually did an internship this past summer at a dairy goat facility that they actually rotationally graze their goats too at the same time. They're farm certified organic. Same with me, they haven't found the organic market yet. So we've been doing it for about a year now, a little over a year. Then my background is both my grandfathers were cow dairy people. Both, let them go out on pasture and everything. And so far, the one grandfather I live with, he's retired, kind of helps out whenever he can or if he wants to type thing.
He was a more traditional farmer,
Yep,
right?
he was a more traditional farmer. He let his cows out. Everybody thought it was a little strange, but he let all of his cows out on pasture. He didn't rotationally graze them, but at least they were out on pasture harvesting their own feed type thing. And then the other grandpa, he retired just this past couple of years ago from dairy farming. He did the same exact thing. He let the cows go out on pasture. They'd go through the woods, pick up whatever they wanted to type thing. Now since he retired that, he's conventional row cropping. But I've helped out on both farms, when I was younger for my grandfather that I live with, retired, I'd help as much as I could, and then I actually helped my other grandfather with all of his production and stuff like that, with milking and feeding and cleaning and all that fun stuff.
Okay, great. And you've decided to do a sustainable agriculture operation,
Yep.
And you've been learning about that, you said, for the past 2 or 3 years. Well, at least at the Moses Conference have,
Yeah.
and obviously you're exposed to this. But tell us a little bit about, like, how you got into that, why, and why you think that's important, and where you see it going forward for yourself.
I see it kind of going forward to, eventually we're hoping to get everything, like I said, everything certified organic, almost all 100% grass-based, and the only grain that they get fed is going to be in the parlor type thing, just, to kind of help them get in and give them a little supplement anything, say if there's any shortfalls in, the pasture or hay or anything. The goal will be to run grass-based beef, possibly a cow-calf operation, maybe finish depending on, the scenario, how many acres I have left. I might expand the goat pasture actually a little more. Go and do that. We actually do our own composting, so the compost, we'll compost it, sell it to, we have a couple organic vegetable gardeners actually down in our area. So we'll sell it to them. We'll actually use that on our own paddocks and our own fields. So basically everything we take out of the ground ends up going back in there some way, shape, or form.
Now, you're doing rotational, but are you getting into mob grazing at all?
This year we're going to actually try mob grazing. We're going to try putting 175 goats on a 1/3 acre paddock, for 12 hours.
So you're going to rotate twice a day? Yeah.
Yep. We'll probably try doing it twice a day, but at night we have a problem with predators. So until we get our guard dogs, trained and up to stat, like we're looking at actually purchasing a couple this spring. So then after that, the goats they'll be stuck in their paddock for sure, during the day, but then at night they can go either out or in or wherever they please type thing.
Yeah, got you.
Do whatever they want.
So, and you're wanting to do this kind of agriculture because? Well,
I've just kind of seen how, just with either reading, I did a lot of reading when I was in high school. I just kind of actually the Moses Conference actually kind of got ideas turning in my head, how I want to do things and so on. It was kind of an idea, my mom, she has MS, so she's been starting to go to all organic and whole foods. That seems to be helping her. I've seen how chemicals have, affected things. I've looked at the way conventional farmers do it. Some things, I understand them, but I just don't 100% agree with. Everybody's going to have their own little separate style, the way they do it, or they have to do it the way they're set up type thing. But the way I see it is, animals, if they were made, God made them to go be out on pasture, they should be out on pasture eating what they need to be eating and, not being thrown all this grain at them or thrown all this silage at them and, do what you can to keep them outside because I've even noticed my own animals, when they're outside, when I can get them outside, they're a lot more happier, healthier. I have problems trying to get them back in the barn at night because, they want to stay out there on their bedding pack all night.
I like it, yeah.
Camp out and
So yeah, and do you see very many other farmers in your area, younger like yourself, or just that many at a period? I mean, Wisconsin obviously is it's a big. We all know it's a big dairy state.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of agriculture here, but throughout the Midwest, I think we're seeing this trend, obviously, of more people getting into sustainable agriculture, biological, going organic, all that sort of thing. Do you see this, like the area that you're in, is that pretty heavy type kind of thing, pretty popular there?
Oh yeah, our area, our valley is almost pretty much, there's only maybe like 2 or 3 farms that aren't certified organic or, at least practice sustainable agriculture down there.
Out of about how many?
Oh boy, I don't know how many.
A lot.
Estimate, yeah.
Well, that's pretty neat. Okay, wow, that's great.
There's, definitely an influence around our area, which makes it a lot easier. But I know I've met, a couple of people at the conference, that are maybe a year or 2 older than me. They're starting their own like organic hog operation, or they're getting into Jersey cattle, grazing jerseys, and then using their jerseys for selling the milk also to, a company, while they actually, use the milk and their own grain and stuff like that to raise their hogs up and do their own farrow to finish type thing. I've met people that have had totally no background at all, and they've come from the inner city Chicago, inner city, Minneapolis and everything, and through the mentorship programs, they've kind of started to, they got their foot in the door type thing to get moving forward, and they kind of start questioning the way things are kind of done, normally, and, that convention, I don't want to say conventionally, but, because some certain, conventional farms are normal ones, but like the confinement operations, that's what I should say.
Right.
So yeah, I'm definitely seeing, more kids my age, they might not have any farm background at all or anything, coming into, whether they do vegetables, I've heard a couple people doing actually meat goats, because that's an upcoming market now. There's been a couple of kids going into dairy, especially a bunch, going into the organic grain production. You might need the land and everything, but they get underneath a mentorship, and then they have a mentor that they kind of help with, work for, and, slowly because you got all these the older baby boomers that are getting out, so that if they don't have any kids that want to, take over the family farm, they actually some of them, you're looking for someone to take on, they kind of start training how they're doing everything, and from there, it's just kind of a cycle that starts going, and then it kind of passes on to the next generation, even if it's not in the family type thing.
Mm-hmm. Which is what we want to see more of, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So at the Moses Conference, tell me what do you think is the greatest? What's been the best thing for you so far? We still got another half day of sessions to go to, but with everything that you've seen here this year in particular, is there anything that's kind of your big takeaway from it?
So far, my biggest one has probably been actually the organic university that I went to with the grazing and grazing management. Just kind of hearing how people do their pastures so they're more biodiverse, multi-species grazing, cut down on all the parasites and everything. And then just with that, just having people from just different countries. I've talked to people from Germany and England, and some people from all the way down out in California that I've talked with them here too, and some up in Maine, and just seeing how the different areas even of this country, how they just kind of, their ideas are different than, the Midwest ideas, but if you actually just tweak them a little bit, they can actually be the exact same. So probably the best thing has been more the networking.
Networking and learning what other people, that's
hearing
great.
about their operations and, learning, kind of taking your own.
That's awesome. And you'll be back next year, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay, all right. Maybe someday we'll see you speaking up at some of these conferences.
Hopefully.
Yeah, great. Well, so one other quick question. Tell us, what do you do for fun in Genoa?
For fun right now?
Or hobbies, or what are you into? Besides?
I do hunting and fishing and, kind of hang out with some friends and everything, but for me, actually, I think it's just fun, working with animals. I'm the son of a veterinarian, I can't help it at all. It's been animals my entire life, so. So
you guys have a passion for anything to do with nature and animals?
Nature. I volunteered at nature parks, helping with young kid programs and, getting kids from the city, kind of outside, having fun, hiking, fishing, and doing all those sorts of things.
Awesome, great. Well, thanks a lot. It was good meeting you, and hopefully people will get a chance to hear from you some more.
All right, sounds
And good luck this year.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, bye.